Hey everyone, it's Tracy Martirana here from Holistic Wellness with Tracy. Welcome back. This is week 4 of my 90 Days to Holistic Wellness series. If you missed week 1 through 3, I will link that playlist here and it will also be down in my description box. Week 4 is all about finding simple ways to limit our chemical exposure. Have you ever stopped to consider the extent to which we are bombarded with chemicals during our day? Everything from our lotions, our perfumes, our hair products, makeup, our air fresheners, our cleaning products, sometimes just the air from the city we live in. All of these on their own are probably not too bad, but when you stack them all together, it starts to become significant. If you're worried about the amount of pesticides and fertilizers used on your produce, the easiest thing you can do is buy organic. However, I know organic is expensive, and depending on where you live, not everything is readily available in a organic form. So you have to sort of pick and choose. I am a big fan of the Environmental Working Group. If you check out their website, I will link that down in the description box as well. They have a ton of resources to help you avoid unnecessary chemical exposure. One of the tools they have that I love, it's their lists. There's 2 of them that they put out every year. It is the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. The Dirty Dozen is a list of the 12 dirtiest produce items that you will find in your grocery store. These are the items that tend to be grown with a lot of pesticides and fertilizers. Therefore, if you're trying to decide where to spend your money on organic foods, these are the ones. These are the foods that are worth buying organic. And then on the opposite end of that is the Clean 15. These are the items that are either grown without a lot of fertilizers or pesticides, or they're just the items themselves, like, that piece of fruit. It's just, it either has like a thick skin that we tend to peel off, or in some way we don't have to worry about it too much because we're likely not going to ingest the chemicals. What else could we consider for this week? If you are someone who uses like those Glade plug-in air fresheners, that might be a good start. Maybe pull those out and instead get a diffuser and use essential oils, or just get rid of them altogether and just enjoy fresh, clean air. If you say no, you love to have your house smelling that fresh and clean smell from a plug-in, then maybe just make sure that when you use them, you're not using them in the areas where you spend a lot of time. So maybe don't have one plugged in right next to your chair in the living room. Maybe don't have one in your bedroom. Have them so that they're there, they're in your space, they're making your house smell nice, but it's not right there in your face for hours upon hours. Again, it's about not being perfect. It's just about decreasing, being a little better. Another thing you could look at is your household cleaners. A lot of the cheap cleaners that we pick up at the dollar store or Walmart or any place like that, a lot of times their ingredients are a little bit questionable. You're better off spending a little bit more money on a brand that you know is like higher quality, like 7th Generation, Mrs. Meyer's Method. Those 3 come to mind, but I know there's plenty of others. And if you're in doubt, look at that environmental group website. They also have tools that will rate cleaning products and also self-care, like personal hygiene products, on like the better for you and like the ones you should probably stay away from. You could also make your own cleaners. One of the easiest things to do is just use white vinegar, lemon juice, baking powder. You can clean a lot of things with those 3 items. However, white vinegar is very acidic, so you do have to be careful with that if you have like stone surfaces, like if you have like countertop or floors that are stone, like granite or whatever. Do like a little test or Google it and see if white vinegar is appropriate for whatever surface you're thinking about cleaning. Or another option that's still quite natural and low in chemicals would be Dr. Bronner's products. Dr. Bronner sells mostly, they're known for their like natural cast iron soaps, and they have a bunch of different fragrances, all like scented with like essential oils and not weird chemicals. That stuff is great for just like your own personal cleansing. I usually put some, like dilute some in a pump bottle that I keep in my shower. I use it for hand soap. But they also have a household detergent called Sales Suds, which works great. It has just like this hint of pine scent that makes it fresh, but not that cloying pine sol pine scent. It's a nice pine scent. And you overly dilute it and it becomes good for everything. I use it for my multi-purpose cleaner. I have a glass spray bottle. I put about a teaspoon of the soap, the Sales Suds in there, fill it with water. That is my all-purpose cleaner for my kitchen, my bathroom, my floors. But the other great thing is it's very like flexible, multi-use. You can buy that one thing, buy that Sales Suds, and again, you can use it as your all-purpose cleaner. You can also use it to wash dishes. You can use it to do your laundry. It's good for everything, as is, I think, their other soaps. Their cast iron soaps, I think, can be used for a ton of things as well. So maybe look into that. If you want to simplify your personal hygiene products, again, the Environmental Working Group can help you with that. Also, just look at brands or companies that are known for making healthier stuff. When it comes to lotions and makeups and cleaners and things like that, I tend to buy from Lemongrass Spa. Their stuff is very high quality and very like low chemical. It's all natural. You can also find things right in your grocery store. Like when it comes to toothpaste, maybe go for a brand like Tom's that's a little more natural. Or when you're looking at deodorant, pick up one of the more natural deodorants. I think Tom's actually makes deodorant as well, but there's other brands. Or you can even make your own. I've made my own deodorant for years, and if this is TMI, I'm sorry, but I have a little container. I actually bought deodorant paste from Lemongrass Spa, and I loved it. I used that for years, but then I was like, you know what? I could probably make something. So I think I turned to my friend Google. I looked up like how to make natural deodorant paste, and I found, call it a recipe. It was really just take some coconut oil, melt it down, stir in a bunch of baking soda. I think probably like to a couple tablespoons of coconut oil. I probably added a teaspoon or two of baking soda, stir it around, stick it in your fridge to let it solidify, see how hard, like if it's still too soft, you might have to add a little more baking soda, but whatever. And then you use just like a tiny little bit, like half of a pea size bit. You get out of the shower, you put it in your hands, you rub it on your armpits. It works great. And then I also bought what I think was meant to be like a powder for your face, like a little thing that you put your own powder in, and it had the little puff. I put a mixture of baking soda and cornstarch in that, and that also makes a great deodorant. So there are a lot of options, a lot of different ways to make household cleaners or personal hygiene products. Get online, find an idea, and give it a whirl. And the last idea I'm going to share with you, if you tend to use Febreze to either spray down clothes that you're not quite ready to launder yet, or rugs, or blankets, or furniture, a more natural idea for that, or less chemical laden idea, I found this idea. Apparently, people use this in theater to spray down costumes, like to freshen them up a little bit, because you can't launder a costume in between every show. So I'm assuming they probably do get pretty smelly after a while. Take a spray bottle, again, a glass spray bottle, fill it about halfway up with vodka, the rest of the way up with water. You have a spray. The vodka will kill any bacteria that's causing odor, and as it evaporates, it sort of like takes the bad smell away. And I use it on my clothes all the time. I also use it on furniture, rugs. You know, sometimes after like cooking something in the house that smells bad, or having a dog come to visit, I might spray down furniture just to freshen it up a little bit. And if you don't want just the plain, like no scent, you can add some essential oils. I like to add a little lemon, just something citrusy, sort of, again, for the fresh factor of that. But if you want something else, you could use any essential oil that you like. So I've just thrown out a handful of ideas. There are a ton more ways that you could consider decreasing your chemical exposure. So think about it a little bit. Make your decision. What are you going to do this week? Again, you only have to do one thing. So pick one thing and just carry it forward. So maybe it's make up that homemade Febreze. Maybe it's order some sales suds and we're going to switch to that for our all-purpose cleaner. Do that one thing and you're done. The action is done, and then you just get to easily carry this forward without it being a big deal every week, right? Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you next week.